I grew up in a small town in the Midwest with hard-working blue-collar parents who always emphasized the importance of education and hard work. Their teachings stayed with me, and after graduating from high school, I pursued my dream of studying medicine. It wasn't an easy journey, but with my parents' support and dedication, I graduated from medical school and became a successful surgeon. I felt like I was living the American dream. I was particularly drawn to the field of surgery. The idea of using my hands to heal people and save lives was incredibly appealing to me, so I dedicated myself to studying the intricacies of the human body, learning everything I could about anatomy and surgical techniques. My determination made my work relatively easy, and I had a grip on what I learned. I had so much interest in the specialty of surgery that difficulties were nothing for me. Despite the challenges I faced, I never lost my passion for medicine. Every day I felt more and more convinced that this was what I was meant to do with my life. And when I finally graduated from medical school, I knew I had made the right decision. My parents were overjoyed to see me become a doctor. They had always encouraged me to pursue my dreams, even when it seemed impossible. I will never forget the proud look on their faces when I walked across the stage to receive my diploma. As I started my career as a surgeon, I was filled with a sense of purpose and fulfillment. Knowing that I had the skills to save lives was a powerful feeling, and I worked hard to be the best doctor I could be. And as I continued to hone my skills and gain more experience, I became even more confident in my abilities. I was striving to become one of the town's best and most reputable surgeons, and I was reaching my target not slowly. Being a surgeon took work. The challenges of this field were intricate, working through blood and organs and trying their best to save the lives of those in danger and emergencies. But little did I know that the challenges I would face in my personal life would be even more significant than those I met in my professional life. The love that Emily and I shared was once beautiful, but it slowly began to wither away, leaving me alone and uncertain about my future. Years later, after my job started, I met Emily, a stunning woman. Emily was not just beautiful, she was breathtaking. Her grey eyes sparkled in the light, and her long blonde hair cascaded down her back like a waterfall. Her tall height and intelligent figure were captivating. Her smile could light up a room, and her laugh was infectious. Her personality was what could inspire any person who met her. I was constantly in awe of her beauty, and felt so lucky to have her by my side. But it wasn't just her looks that made me fall in love with her. Emily was smart, ambitious, and driven. She had started her own cosmetic company, thriving under her leadership. I was amazed by her dedication and hard work, and admired her for being a strong, independent woman. She owned her own medium-sized cosmetic company, which flourished with time due to her dedication and hard work. I was immediately drawn to her beauty and intelligence. We fell in love quickly, and we were married before I knew it. Our love was strong, and nothing could come between us. And our love grew more when our beautiful daughter came. At first, everything was perfect. Emily and I were happy, and our daughter was thriving. We were living a joyous life, with immense love and affection for the three of us. Emily and I continued our jobs, and my daughter was brought up at a kindergarten in the morning. However, in the evenings, we both made sure we gave our daughter, Emma, a good family time. Emma was the apple of our eyes. We would go on family trips and have lovely dinner parties. We lived a perfectly happy life any couple or family could wish for. But as time went on, I began to notice that Emily was leaving our daughter with her parents more often. She would go on girls' trips for days at a time, leaving me to take care of our daughter on my own. She showed the slightest interest in the matters of the house. She stopped caring for the home, as well as the food, or even the members of that house. I started to feel like something was off, and I noticed that she had stopped spending time with me. We would only see each other briefly, during meals. As the trips became more frequent, I couldn't shake off the feeling that something was wrong. Emily's behavior had become distant and aloof. I tried to bring up my concerns, but every time I did, she would dismiss them, saying that she just needed some time to herself. This was the point where then I used to keep my distance, not to disturb her privacy. I consoled myself, considering her being busy in her job, or maybe she was tired of this hectic routine of looking after the home, Emma, and also the shop. I started to feel like I was losing her, and it made me incredibly anxious and depressed. Amidst all this, I started losing my focus and started staying depressed and nervous. I couldn't concentrate on my work, and I found myself becoming more and more distant from my friends and family. I knew something had to change, but I didn't know what to do. It wasn't until I received the news that I had a tumor that Emily's behavior took a drastic turn. I received the news that I had a prostate tumor. It was a terrifying moment for me, and I couldn't believe that I was facing such a life-threatening illness. I had always been in good health and never expected to be diagnosed with something so serious. I was scared and worried about what would happen to me and my family. The doctors assured me that the tumor was not aggressive and had been diagnosed timely. They said surgery would for sure be helpful. All I had to was to keep my will. However, I was determined to fight the tumor and undergo surgery to remove it, with the hope of returning to my everyday life as soon as possible, back with my lovely wife and daughter. The time before my surgery was what gave me back my old Emily. She was supportive and assured me that we would get through the surgery and recovery period together. She took care of me much more than before. She took an off from her work and would stay at home the whole day to look after me. She played a brave role and also handled Emma throughout this. I was hopeful of my successful surgery and eager to return healthy to start my family life once again. But right before my surgery, Emily dropped a bombshell. She told me that she wanted a divorce. She claimed that the recovery period would be too hard on our daughter, and she did not want her to see me in pain. I was shocked and hurt beyond words. I couldn't believe that our marriage was falling apart when I needed her the most. I was left feeling alone and scared, unsure of what the future held for me and my family. I underwent the surgery, and thankfully it was a success. But the road to recovery was long and challenging. Emily visited me in the hospital, but our conversations were strained and awkward. I could sense that she was distant and detached, and it hurt me to see her like that. I knew that something had changed between us, and it made me feel helpless and hopeless. The only thing she wanted was separation, and for me, it was heartbreaking because I didn't know what I did wrong to deserve this. After my surgery, I received calls from Emily's parents, pressuring me about the divorce and child support. I was confused and hurt. I did not want my family to end at such a stage where I thought things were turning right. Initially, I confronted, but it was all in vain. They were firm in their stance on getting a divorce. And then I decided to hire a private investigator to find out what was going on. After a few days of his working, the private investigator's report confirmed my worst fears. Emily had been having an affair for months, and to make matters worse, she had been bringing her lover to our home while I was in the hospital recovering from my surgery. It was a betrayal beyond anything I could have imagined. I had thought of all the reasons for Emily's behavior, but the thought of this alone was too depressing and heartbreaking. This was too much to handle. I was in awe and almost in a denial state. Slowly, I got my senses back, and that is when I realized that while going through the surgery process, some of the memories had clicked in my mind that were proving what the investigator was saying. The flashbacks played now. All the events and instances matched. The routine Emily had been practicing, the way she treated me, her behavior at home, her negligence towards Emma, everything got its reason now. I remembered that one evening when I was lying in bed, trying to get some rest, I heard Emily's phone buzz. Curiosity got the better of me, and I glanced over to see a message from a man named Tom. My heart sank as I read the messages, which were flirtatious and suggestive. I could not believe what I was seeing. I confronted Emily about the messages, but she brushed me off and claimed they were just innocent texts from a co-worker. I knew in my gut that something was going on between them, but I couldn't prove it then. Also, I did not want this to be a reality, so I thought it better to forget what I saw and read. And now, when everything is against her, I do not want to accept it. I was angry and hurt, but I knew I needed to stay focused on what was best for our daughter. The best for her now was our separation, because Emily had no heart for living with me, and I was not able to forget what she had done. So rather than living a forceful, crumbled up life, I thought to do what she wanted. I presented the evidence to my lawyer, and we went to court for the divorce and custody hearing. It was a long and painful process, but in the end, I was awarded full custody of our daughter and a fair amount of child support. I was devastated. I could not believe that Emily had been bringing her lover to our home while I was in the hospital, possibly even while our daughter was there. I could not get all this off my mind so easily and quickly. It took a long time for me to return to my normal functioning. The betrayal was too much to bear, and it badly affected my life. The after effects of surgery, enhanced by this devastating news and the ending of my family life, were more than enough to handle. I lost my determination, perseverance, and motivation to move on with my life. However, for the sake of Emma, I had to. I started all over with her. We moved to another state to let me out of the memories associated with Emily in every place of that town. Emma and I started a new life together happily. She got her admission to the school, and I got hired as a senior surgeon at a hospital there. Things started going well. With each passing day, Emily's betrayal hit me hard, and my love for her faded. But there was one more twist in the story, and fate had something in hand for me. One day, while Emily was out on a date with Tom, they were involved in a car accident. Both were brought to the hospital where I worked. It was so that the case was of emergency, and no other surgeon was on duty then. I was forced to operate on Tom, but in my anger and frustration, I made a mistake during the surgery, though I did not intend to bring in between my private life. It happened so that I irritated a spinal nerve of his, which led to a disaster, to say for him. Tom's left paralyzed for life. There was little chance of his recovery. He had been poorly inflicted and was left unable to walk or talk. He was now on the support of the caregivers. It was a shock to hear the news, but I couldn't help feeling a sense of karma at play. I felt as if I got the best revenge for the betrayal, as Tom was the main culprit of my story, second to Emily. Emily recovered from the accident in a few days. She had just received a few minor injuries, which she recovered soon, but her lover was left permanently paralyzed. The guilt of what I had done weighed heavily on me, but at the same time, I could not help but feel a sense of satisfaction knowing that Tom would never be able to hurt anyone again. Meanwhile, Emily recovered from the accident and moved on with her life, seemingly without a care. The aftermath of the divorce was harrowing for me. I was left to raise my daughter alone, and I struggled to balance my demanding job with my responsibilities as a single father. But I was determined to be the best father I could be. Despite the challenges, I found joy in spending time with my daughter. We went on weekend camping trips, visited museums, and went to the movies together. I was grateful for the love and support of my family and friends, who helped me navigate the difficult days. And most of all, I was grateful for my daughter, who remained a bright spot in my life despite everything. She was my reason for living, and I was determined to give her the best life possible. Years went by, and my daughter grew up to be an intelligent, beautiful, and kind-hearted young woman. She was the pride and joy of my life. The most important conclusion I derive from this story is to subscribe to this channel for more interesting stories in the future. Let me know what you thought about the author in the comments. Was his revenge too weak or too brutal?